Another Brink Radio exclusive.
What's happening, everybody? Of course, it's your host, Brink Young, coming straight out of them South Memphis slums, and you're listening to Brink Radio right here on 96.3 FM, talking about bumping 96.3 because you know Brink put the B in bumping. Look, we got a super tremendous guest on this show tonight. We're talking about the beautiful, lovely Memphian. I got to stick that Memphian in there. We're talking about actress, entrepreneur, you do it all. I mean, we're talking about Elise Neal. How you doing?
I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm doing amazing. First and foremost, I got to say thank you for being the guest on the show. Means a lot.
You're welcome.
No doubt.
You've been a fan, and you really have been showed up to a lot of things I've done when I'm here in Memphis. So I appreciate that. So I try to give back, even though we had to figure it out. But I was like, we're going to get there. We're going to squeeze it in.
Hey, I promise I appreciate that. But let's talk about the first time I actually met you. I did tell you off the air. First time I met you was at the Barcade's 50th anniversary. I believe that was at the Cannon Center.
Okay. I don't remember where it was, but okay.
It was so incredible.
It was nice.
I can't remember if that was 2014, somewhere in there, but it was an amazing event, and you were there. We're talking about beautiful as ever. And I was just so starstruck because obviously with you being a Memphian, my mom actually went to high school with you. And so I was like, dude, I'm meeting somebody who my mom went to school with. And I thought that was amazing.
That's great. That's great. And shout out to your mom. You told me she's a fan of the Black Hamptons, so shout out to her.
Absolutely, and that's a great time to go ahead and segue into the Black Hamptons. We're talking about Carl Weber's The Black Hamptons series on BET and BET Plus.
Amen.
How did that come about?
I got a call from Carl and also from Trey, who's the producer and also the director. Okay. And shout out to him because he's a very humble guy, but I will say he is an amazing visualist. Those shots be looking like it looks real rich. Yeah. You know, he does a great job in that way, and he doesn't give himself enough credit, so I'll do that now. So he reached out because they had this role, and I read a little bit about it. I was like, I'm in. It's like when you've been an actress for so long, and, you know, I've studied the Academy of Dramatic Art. I'm known for, you know, comedy. I'm known for maybe a good drama, but I've never done a character like her. And I think it's great to see how people really love it because, you know, I've been known for doing comedy and doing Stick or the Hughleys or All of Us or, you know, Money Talks or whatever, but never a character that's just kind of like bold and brazen and don't play with me. And I love that.
And it's incredible with you being on there. You're actually married to Lamont Rucker.
I have worked with him so many times. It's crazy. Yeah. We've worked at least 12 times together. And it's a lot of fun. But honestly, we know the importance of a positive Black couple on television and what that means to people. And he and I really, each episode, like go through the episode, talk about where our arc is, how do we keep them and showing in love, showing a real couple having fun, being in love, having each other's backs. We really make sure that we nail all of that all the time.
In addition to having a freeloading little sister, Black China, let's talk about that.
I mean, I like working with her so much. You know, Angela White is her name, and I talk to her a lot. We go over things. You know, I always say this about everybody, including myself. You know, you don't know somebody until you know somebody.
Absolutely.
You know, y'all see a perception of me, see a perception of her, see a perception of Lamont. I mean, yeah, he's a sex symbol, but he's a married man with a child, and he loves that and embraces that part of himself as well. Black China, Angela White, no different. She's just a sweetheart. She's trying to learn, and we giggle and we have a good time. She's a great girl.
Absolutely. And I think it's incredible, you know, the show. It's definitely showing your acting range because it's been times on this show where I've seen you ready to snatch somebody bald head. Yeah. Like you really, Memphis came out of you.
Yeah. I use it to my discretion. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Hey, it's like a light switch. We just flip it on and off.
Exactly.
And of course, it is on BET and BET Plus right now for you guys who want to check it out. Like I say, it's an amazing show. When can we expect season 3?
I don't want to talk for the producers, but I do know we have one. So one is coming.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I'm happy about that.
I love it. So let's talk about one of the things that brings you to Memphis right now. You actually have an acting masterclass series called Lights, Camera, Action. So let's talk more about that.
Okay. Well, one of the main purposes for me you know, as I get older, and one I've always had is to come back here and do something positive for the city, but also help young, you know, Elises or Kevins or whatever out there that want to be in this business, and really show them some ropes and teach them how to succeed. I mean, I keep it real honest. You know, a lot of people don't want to do that. And I know it's not easy. It has this, putting this together has not been easy, but I'm willing to take that on because I really want to see someone else succeed. And I think because it's a smaller town, it's a smaller market, that people really think it can happen for them. And I'd say, use me as an example.
Absolutely.
I didn't have anybody in entertainment in my family, and right now I only maybe have 2 since when I was in high school that are now. But, you know, you can do it. You can make it. I can help you make it. If you're trying to be an actor or actress in this business, I can give you the tools for your, you know, breaking down the script isn't easy. Memorizing lines isn't easy, but I have shortcuts. And we're going to talk about all of those at the class on the 20th, which is this Saturday at 12 p.m. at Spotlight Studios. You know, my Lights, Camera, Action, I thought that was such a cool name because I want them to get excited. And I think that's a title that jumps out like, yeah, we're going to do this. And the action is you come to class, get these gems. We're also going to talk about, like, how do you get an agent? How do you prepare your headshot? What do you need to wear to make you succeed? I want you to get a job after this acting class. I want you to really be like, wow, she really gave me some stuff to help me. I didn't know. And, you know, we're going to talk about even how do you submit yourself. We're going to get into all the things so they can succeed.
All right, so would this acting class be for actors only, or could, you know, any directors come?
No, well, I mean, if they want to get the knowledge, absolutely pull up to it. You know, that's really what this is about. But also, I want to just really emphasize, it's also online, guys. So you can be in Alabama. I know you guys have a really big audience in Alabama. You can get a ticket and just watch it at home. If you got some other acting friends or colleagues that want to just get the knowledge, you know, sit around the table, pop open the laptop, watch this, pay for it, and watch and get the gems. I'm not trying to make it so it's hard for you. I understand. I completely understand. But, you know, think smart. Get a group of people, go in on it, and get the knowledge that you need so you can succeed. You know, I think a lot of times people don't want to invest in their future.
Facts.
You know, I can say it till I'm blue in the face. But also, I think it's because, you know, look, when I decided to do this, like, my family didn't want me to do it either. Okay. They really want me to stay home and open my dance school, because that was my first dream. Was stay here, open my dance school, it's done. But when you feel like there's more that you could do, and I just jumped out and did it. And I promise you, anybody else who wants to do it, who's from Memphis, Alabama, Chicago, or wherever, you can do it too. But you start with that first step and learning the tools so that I can help you.
Absolutely. So if anyone wanted more information on this, like, would there be a website they can go to, or would they have to tap in with your social media?
Yeah,
or what?
so the link in my bio is on my Instagram for you to buy the tickets and get the online and also in person. But also, you know, we have it all across. It's on Eventbrite. If you want to go straight to Eventbrite, you know, it's only 3 days away. So, you know, get the tickets.
Hey, definitely get the tickets, because, like I say, it's so many aspiring actors in this city, aspiring directors. I see so many movies on Tubi that were shot here in Memphis, and I'm pretty impressed, but they still need to sharpen those skills. They still need the knowledge, and I feel like they should definitely attend your class to gain
and,
that.
you know, it is a different thing with directors, and somebody said the same thing, like you should do another one. Your second one should be for directors or behind the curtain type of things, which is a good thought. I think at the end of the day, starting with this is because this is really like what I know in and out. But if they want to get the knowledge and some camera help and some understanding of the acting process, yeah, they should definitely come and check it out.
Absolutely. You guys make sure y'all tap in with Elise Neal for that, because, like I say, you're going to need it. But it kind of makes me want to segue to another question. Like, when will we see you producing more of your projects? Like, because I know it's seen you. You know, I remember back in the day, we was talking about the White Sisters and all of that. So, I mean, when we going to see more projects from you?
Well, I just had a movie that I co-produced, and it was on Tubi for a little bit. I don't know if it's still on there. I'm sorry, y'all. I've been busy putting this together. Called Survival. Okay. It might be, if you want to check it out. I co-produced that. I'm the lead of that movie. It was definitely a dark movie, hard to do. I enjoy being behind the scenes. I don't have to be in front of the camera, but also I have a movie that I want to shoot here that I co-wrote with Robin Thede, who we all love her and all her greatness. And it's a dance movie, which is what I know. And there'll be more. But, you know, we start with this so people can get some gems and help them out, and we'll see what's next.
I love it. I love it. So with that being said, it might be like a Fame type of movie. Or
I ain't telling you my script.
Hey, she ain't going to tell me that script. Hey, but you definitely going to want to stay tuned for that. Now, let's go ahead and talk about, like I say, one of my favorite films that you were a part of.
Which
We're talking
one?
about How to Be a Player. Bill Bellamy, my goodness. Pierre.
That was so much fun. That was a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
That was so much fun.
It was one specific scene, and I want to shout out actress Jasmine Lewis. You know, she's been on the platform before. The specific scene where you just pretty much bust the dough down.
So much fun to shoot. Anything physical is always fun to shoot. You know, we giggled so much that we had to get all the giggles out before they rolled film because we didn't want to laugh on camera. But yeah, you know, the door was a prop. You know, it's all the things that you don't know behind the scene. The door was already kind of unhinged, and then I pretend to like knock it down. We did a lot of acting. He was pretending like it was hard, but the door really could have just fell on its own. We were just both on each side, like, okay, I'm gonna push, and he's like, okay, I'm gonna push back. But the door, you know, obviously the door was like not on any hinges.
Yeah. So do you keep in contact with like Pierre? Because I see he's got the whole Panic Room, all of that going on. He's got his own podcast.
You know what? I haven't talked to him, but I should say hi to him. But I mean, sometimes if I post it, he'll say something back. If I do like a throwback or something, he's a good guy.
Absolutely.
And Jasmine's my girl. Known her for years. Yes.
Jasmine is incredible. One thing she mentioned when she was on the show, we talked about how she was featured on UPN's Moesha. Mm-hmm. And that actually spawned into a whole separate conversation about how back in the day, network television, they had so many black sitcoms. Mm-hmm. And from her perspective, they used them to build their audience and then, you know, decided to go ahead and, you know, ditch them. You know, do you have a thought on that or a take?
I mean, I think, you know, television has changed so much, right? And then we did have that great heyday, which I really wish, you know, it could figure out a way to come back, where there was so many great television projects with African-American talent in the leads. It would be so fun. I can remember back when we were even doing like the Hughleys, you know, we pull up on the set there. And then it was also like the Wayans was shooting in another one over here. We had Bernie Mac was shooting over here. And we would always talk about that. And we would roll through in our car and be like, hey, what's up? How you doing? And it just made us all feel good. And it was such a sense of community. I mean, you know, things happen. There comes different people who take over networks, and then perspectives and missions change. And, you know, I don't know what it's going to take to bring that back, but that's usually what happens. Somebody probably bought the network. Then they say, oh, this is what my idea of the network is. And then, you know, you end up with nothing as positive as that whole thing was, because that was what was so great about it. It wasn't that Bernie Mac was talking about something negative. It wasn't that the Hughleys was talking about something negative. It was just strong, black, regular, positive families, and the message for other families was so strong with that. I wish they could bring that back, because we do need a balance. You know, you don't want everything to be about murder. You want something that you're like, oh, that looked like me and my cousins at home in our beds. You know, you want to have a balance.
Absolutely. And I'm glad that you did bring up the Hughleys, because the show actually began on ABC, but ended up on UPN. I would say that that's a success story, because whenever shows, you know, get canceled, so to speak, or a network decides to not renew, you know.
Let's be clear. So DL decided to move it there.
Really?
Yeah, that wasn't a network decision. It wasn't a cancel.
Okay.
It was more him wanting to be a part of what was going on over there. And I don't mean, I can't speak for him, but I think they did make a bigger offer, you know, because there was a lot going on with that network back then.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think that's incredible for it to, you know, continue on UPN, because UPN had a plethora of shows that represented us. And I would say your show represented us in a positive light. You know, we know the traditional stereotypes. We know the single parent homes and stuff like that. But you guys offered something more wholesome. It was comical, and that's what my family, could aspire to be.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. It's a lot of just regular families having fun, eating food on Sundays without all the drama.
Yeah.
But again, it's balanced, and there's a lot that there's single parents. There's a lot of other perspectives as well. But my point is, all of them need to be involved in TV because I want people to be represented. And at the end of the day, you don't want to lean so quick all on one side. You want it to be balanced.
Absolutely. So do you keep in contact with cast members from the Hughleys?
Oh, I definitely just talked to DL probably 2 weeks ago. I mean, that's the main one that I talked to. I'm really close with the head makeup artist from the Hughleys, little Ashley, who's now grown with a husband. And we've talked a lot over the years, so I try.
Now, you missing somebody. We're talking about DJ Daniels, your son. He's went through an amazing transformation,
He has gone through a lot. I haven't been able to see or talk to him as much, but I'm proud of him. And whatever he wants to do, I support it.
Absolutely. So definitely shout out to him, man. And hey, when you get some more music, send it my way. We might play it on the show. But let's go ahead and transition. Another show that you were featured on that, of course, everybody loved this show in the 90s. We're talking about The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. There was a specific episode where Pam Grier was playing your mom.
Love her.
And that's so legendary within itself.
Crazy.
I mean, obviously the show has juggernauts like James Avery on there.
Yes, God rest his soul.
You know what I'm saying? Obviously Will Smith, but to be alongside Pam Grier, what was that like?
Okay, this was early in my career, and she was just so sweet and so loving and just like, hey, girl, if you want to touch up your makeup or do it better, whatever you want, do what you want. Don't just sit on what they want. She was teaching me gems at my first start. And we had such a cool connection, even on Twitter or something. Every now and then we'll shout each other out. Like, she's a great lady. I mean, such an icon. None of this exists before her. Absolutely. With Foxy Brown.
Man,
it's just amazing to have that in my legacy of people I work with. She was great.
Hey, definitely want to give a shout out to Pam Grier. That lady is still beautiful after all these years.
Forever.
My gosh, man, we talking about, man. Look. I think she started making me like cougars. I'm gonna be honest. You know what I'm saying? Especially that particular episode.
My God, that's still kind of legendary. Yeah. People love that episode.
I got friends who just randomly say "Tad Dow, Tad Dow." Ooh, you slept with Janice. It's
legendary
hilarious.
Some legendary stuff went down in that one.
All right, so of course we got to talk about like my very first time when I saw you. Like, I was a little kid. Of course, a lot of people watch after school specials. Who didn't? I definitely did, especially when you a latchkey kid. Mom and dad's at work. You got to come home, let yourself in.
Right.
I saw you on a after school special. It was called Daddy's Girl. Let's talk about that.
Man, so let's take it back. So I got a full scholarship out of Overton High School. Shout out to Overton High School, my alma mater, and full dance scholarship because that was what I was there for as a dancer. And I moved to New York after college, and I was living in New York doing musicals and all that stuff. I was asked to do this after school special, and that's where I met Lauryn Hill.
Wow.
Lauryn Hill was amazing to work with. We hit it off like crazy. Stayed in touch after that, and then I get like an email from her like, hey, Elise, this is like after the Fugees and stuff, it kind of started blowing up. She hits me up and she's like, hey, Elise, I'm actually directing something. I'm like, girl, that's great. She's like, yeah, I actually have this part that I want you to be a part of. I'm like, oh, okay, send it over. So she sends it over. I started looking at it. I'm like, oh, shoot, this is the lead. Oh, God, what is... This is what? This is... The legend is in this music video? Oh, my God, I could not believe it. It was so great. Rose is a Rose was the music video. With Aretha Franklin.
That's right.
I was like, oh, my God. So I was like, I got to get it together for this. And it was freezing when we shot that. When I flew back to New York, it was freezing. So we were out there, and it was like Q-Tip was in it, playing my love interest. It was crazy. It was such a good time. So proud of her. Like the journey she has had that, you know, and then what happened after that, we did that was done. And then I was doing this movie called Restaurant.
Okay.
And Restaurant was about interracial couples in New York. And Adrian Brody, who ended up winning an Oscar. A lot of people go, you know the white boy that kissed Halle Berry. I'll just say
Cadillac
that for
Records.
reference, because y'all may not know otherwise. So anyway, so I was playing his love interest, which is actually my first lead movie.
Okay.
Was a Restaurant, and they were looking for someone to play his former girlfriend, and they couldn't find it. They were like, we can't find it. She's got to be so special. She's got to be beautiful, you know, and different than you. But how do we find? I was like, give me a second. Let me see if she can do this before I say anything. They're like, well, who are you talking about? I'm like, I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to say anything unless she says she can do it. So I call her and tell her about it. I said, it's just like one day. You just come in and do it. I said, they got you. They're going to pay you whatever because they really looking for somebody. And she was like, okay. And so she played the ex-girlfriend because she had to come in and look, you know, like basically shock me. Like, oh, shoot, that's who he used to be with. And I'm like, she gives all of that. She's so regal. She's so beautiful. And I really, we had some great times in our early days, yes.
That's incredible. Definitely want to say that Miseducation of Lauryn Hill is still a dope album to this day. To this day, it's still going on.
Forever.
Now,
she is the best.
You did mention being featured in a music video with Aretha Franklin.
Mm-hmm.
Another music video that I remember seeing you in with my guy Trick Daddy. Maybe because I'm a thug all day, every day. Let's talk about that video.
So, you know, they called my agent, asked me to be in the video, you know, and they flew me out to Miami. And it was so much fun. You know, everything is professional. Everything is just get to set. And a lot of people don't understand, you know, on set, people be stressed. They got a day. It's about to be, the sun's about to go down. So I think it was one of those things where, like, with Trick, like, he was doing all of his scenes and stuff, and then they were like, oh my God, we got like 5 hours before the sun goes down. We got to start with your stuff. And I'm like, okay. So they just, and it's just be a lot of hurry up and run around, change clothes, next scene. And we were just booking it from like place to place to place to try to catch the sun before it went down on that video. But it was fun.
Hey, definitely shout out to Trick Daddy. Hey, that's what I'm talking about. You know, and it's incredible that, you know, you are able to recall all of these, you know, features that you were in. Mm-hmm. I actually remember, and I just thought about it while we were talking. I remember you was on an episode of the Wayans Brothers.
Yep, I did so many guest spots back in before certain things. Yes, so many, lots of them.
What was it like working with the legendary late great John Witherspoon?
I mean, I'm trying to think, was he even in my scenes? I don't remember. He was?
I want to say that was the very last scene where he was playing the piano and everybody was so shocked that he could play, or it might have been a violin or something like that.
I don't remember. It's been too many of them, child.
Hey, we're going to have to do some binge watching. It's all good. We're going to make that happen, though. We're going to make it happen.
But I still talk to Sean. And I still talk to Marlon, yeah.
Absolutely. So, of course, we got to talk about Paid in Full. That is an urban classic.
Ooh, people love that movie so much.
Yes. Let's talk about it.
And that was fun because it was a small part. And sometimes for me, I love a small part. I love a small part with an impact because that means I get to go on location and y'all are working hard. And I just get to come in for a day or two and, you know, have fun. So, you know, we shot that in Canada, and that was already great. Like, okay, we're going to Canada. But, you know, it's always fun to just come in and pop in and make an impact in a show or a movie and get to go home. Yeah, I like that.
I love it.
But that was crazy with the blood. I remember us having a whole thing about the blood and making sure the blood looked right because she definitely went down horribly. But, yeah, it was a lot of fun.
All right. So, of course, let's go ahead and talk about if there's any role that you can think of that you auditioned for but didn't get. Can you remember any?
It's a few.
Uh-oh.
But one of the biggest ones is, okay. So what had happened was I had auditioned. Okay, this is going to make it full circle. So obviously we just talked about I was a dancer.
Okay.
So I still have a lot of ties in the dance community. One of the people I worked with a lot is Marguerite Derricks. She's still out there being a choreographer for TV and film. And so I had auditioned for this movie. I'm not going to say it yet. Auditioned for this movie. I get a call from her. Elise, oh my God, girl. I'm like, hey, what's going on, girl? It's been a minute. How you doing? Girl, okay, listen. I can't talk long because I don't want them to know I called you. But I see your picture up here on the board because you got to do Austin Powers. They got you. You got it. They have you on the board. I said, girl, stop lying. They have you up here. You have got the part in Austin Powers. I'm like, oh my God. Okay, I won't tell nobody, but oh my God, this is so great. Oh my God. And then she called me back the next morning because the great and beautiful, killing the internet, killing the country airways, Beyonce.
Wow.
Wanted the part. She was on the soundtrack, but she wanted the part. So I was like, oh my God, dang it, I don't have a chance. Okay, well, damn. That's the one that still hurts because I had it. I had done the work. I had killed the audition. I'm on the board because usually guys, when you get it, they put all the cast on a board so they can refer to it. They can talk to hair and makeup and do all those things. I was on the board.
Wow. We talking about one of those.
So that's facts. Like I had it, but yeah.
We talking about one of those vintage Esther Roll, Florida Evans dams.
Straight
like,
up.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's another matter of fact. I just thought about it. That's another legendary actress who you work with on Rosewood, Esther Roll, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's talk about Rosewood since we got a minute.
Well, Rosewood was great. It was such a. First of all, I always shout out to John Singleton.
Absolutely,
such a legend. Every moment with him, and I've been blessed to work with him twice. And he was considered a friend. Really, he was really one of my best dear friends. But just his mindset for what he creates as a writer, as a director, he has been one of one. You know, he's given us Rosewood and Baby Boy and so many Higher Learning and, you know,
Boys in the Hood.
Boys in the Hood, like so many. But it all stems from him. And then he loved filmmaking so much. He could talk about a film all day. And even if you didn't want to hear it at first because you're like tired or whatever, by the time he started telling you about it and breaking it down, you're like, yeah, let's watch it now. Let's go. Like he really loved the process. So I miss him, but he made amazing films. Yes.
Definitely RIP to John Singleton. Amazing project he did with Snowfall. I was so in love with that show.
Yeah.
So let's talk about some of the sitcoms that you may be watching these days. Are you watching anything on TV?
You know, I'm not really watching a lot of sitcoms these days. I've been checking out a lot of movies and other TV. You know, everybody loves Power, so do I. The Power universe. You know, but I'm more of a movie buff. If I'm sitting and watching something at home, it's a movie. It's probably like an old school movie. Could be definitely a dance movie. Yeah. I like to sit and watch the classics.
I would love to see you on Raising Kanan or BMF or something like 50 Cent. We got to make something happen.
You know, you never know.
I would love to see that. So let me ask you this. Like, what would you tell 30-year-old Elise Neal right now if you could?
30-year-old Elise. I would just tell my younger 30-year-old self to trust your own gut a little bit more, because I do now.
Yeah.
Create some projects for yourself, because I do now. And trust myself more at 30 like I trust myself now. Yeah.
Absolutely. So, of course, I want to talk about something you posted on Twitter recently, or should we say X. The actual tweet was, always go where you are celebrated, not fucking tolerated.
I didn't say
life is too short.
I put an emoji just to be clear.
Well, I read in between the lines, and so did everybody else. Let's talk about that, because I thought that was phenomenal, and I definitely related to it.
I want people to understand that, you know, life is too short. And you don't have to waste your time on people, situations that they don't care or celebrate you. There's a lot of people in this world. There's millions of people in this world. And don't get stuck waiting for one situation, waiting for one opportunity, waiting for one person to show you the love that you should just be able to get and you will get with someone else, and maybe a different job. I just want people to know that. And sometimes I just do tweets that's on my heart. And my heart has really been thinking that, like, I love where I am now because I know I'm creating things that make me happy.
Yeah.
And that makes me feel good, whether it's going great or bad or whatever. I love that. I love that. And that makes me feel good. And again, when I was younger, I didn't understand that as much as I do now. But it is important for everybody listening that you find your joy, happiness at work, at home, and anywhere that you put your energy into, because that is so important.
The thing about interviews like this, I feel like people watching, they're able to be inspired, and get motivated. It's a topic I want to dive into real quick. It's not super serious, but I think that our people should kind of pay attention to it just a little bit more. Keeping up with the Joneses.
Mm-hmm.
It's a difference between, I feel like there's a difference between, once you start earning and rewarding yourself, that's cool. That's fine. I've always wanted this. But just keeping up, buying everything just because, your peers or everyone in Hollywood, so to speak, is doing it. How do you feel about that?
Well, it's the internet, right?
Yeah.
It's social media. And I think a lot of people get stuck in a pretty picture, because if you don't post a pretty picture, you're not going to get the likes. If I don't rent the Bentley for my party, I'm not going to get the likes. If I don't do whatever, and I'm not going to get the likes. And, again, I think sometimes that comes with wisdom, but sometimes not. But I've always been a person that there's things that are more important for me personally, yes, when I, I bought a really beautiful home in Los Angeles, California, but I also spent a lot of my money helping my niece be a doctor. Poured a lot of money of mine into making sure that dream could happen for her, because I could. Yeah. And so I'm so proud when I know that she is practicing and doing great and doing well out there in Seattle and living her dream. Sometimes you have to think about what's going to be more important in the long run, and I like, now don't get me wrong, I love fancy things.
Yeah.
I love fancy cars. I love fancy clothes. I love fancy whatever. I love a big, huge team with the top of the line publicists and all of those things, because I've had that, and that's all great. But then also you want more, and you want more for I'll again speak for myself because I can't speak for everybody, but I wanted more. I wanted to come after we shot the Black Hamptons and come to Memphis and sit here with the people and figure some things out and create some things so I could give back. Again, somebody else may not want to do that. And here's the thing, that's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. Because if somebody doesn't want to do it from their heart, we really don't need them tapping in.
Facts.
Because it's not going to be good, or it's going to be some other self-serving reason why. And I believe that people who do it from their heart, you can feel that in the message that they're giving. So, to each his own. But I encourage people to really take a moment and think about, why do you feel the need that you want all those things? Maybe it's a thing where if you were more comfortable with yourself, more comfortable with who you are, that you would not need all of those things to feel happy. I've learned in my life, like, I don't need any of those things to be happy. They're fun to have, but they don't make you internally happy. And I think because of social media, a lot of young people don't even take a second to think, wait, what would really make me happy?
What makes Elise Neal happy?
Doing the work as an actor makes me really, really happy. I have loved it from the time I started, still love it now. What would make me ecstatic is, say, one more show that's like a hit show, that's like, on one of those Law and Order shows or something, so I can really dive into that part of my personality and do something like that. And creating more successful projects under my own umbrella. I created a production company called Nora Made Me. It's a shout out to my mother. My mother's middle name is Nora, God rest her soul, Arletha Nora Johnson Neal. And just seeing that thrive. But I'm happy pretty much, honestly, in the gym. I'm happy in the gym. I think for me, and again, everybody's different. I'm kind of simple, but, you know, I'm complicated because my journey has been so fulfilling and from, I've spent summers in Monte Carlo, you know, for work, which, you know, that's crazy to me. And that was when I was 25.
Wow.
I have 5 passports from being overseas that many times. Not everybody can do that. So my perspective on a lot of things is definitely different. You know, I've been in big rooms with the presidents and talked to people about so many things that people don't really get a chance to. And so, again, my perspective a lot of times is definitely broader, different. I don't think of certain things in the same way other people do because they're not coming from my lens.
Right.
You know, my lens is very much like, okay, I did all of that other stuff, and all of that kind of stuff is not important to me. And I don't care about certain other things because that's not important to me. You know, it's more important like what, you know, moving forward and what my message is that I'm, and my legacy that I'm leaving on the world.
Now, I know one thing that will definitely make you happy if the Memphis Grizzlies won the championship next season.
I didn't even want to bring them up.
What we
and
doing?
You sitting there with that full Grizzlies gear on.
Hey, you know, favorite team. You be a courtside at a lot of the games.
I do.
How long you been a Grizzlies fan?
Shoot, good 10 to 12 years.
Okay.
I take them over everything. I have been to Memphis Grizzlies games at L.A., loud and proud with my gear on, shouting for the Grizzlies. Everybody looking at me like, this girl, who is this chick on the other side? And I'd be like, so, come on.
Yeah. I promise, man. I just hope we're able to get it together, man. If we could maintain health and hopefully draft a center in this upcoming draft.
Yeah, we need a center. We need a big, tall, make it happen person for sure.
Definitely, and can get rebounds and be aggressive in the paint. We need that.
I ain't said all that.
I mean, it's been a minute since we had all this. Shout out to Zebo, man. Zach Randolph, he definitely handled business, stood on business, you know. But go ahead, let the people know all of your social media. That way they can stay tuned with you.
Okay, so on Instagram, it's at Elise Neal. Please look for the verified page, please, y'all, because you know them fakes be trying to run the streets. On Twitter, it's official. It's Elise Neal, same thing, verified. I do love TikTok, and it is Elise Neal ENT. That is also verified. And my Facebook is official Elise Neal. That is also verified. So check out the verified pages. Lights, Camera, Action was going to be this Saturday, 12 p.m., Spotlight Studios. Link in my Instagram bio for tickets. It is online and also virtual. So check it out.
Absolutely. I got to say thank you for being a guest on this show.
course.
This really means a lot. Like I say, for all of you who don't know, this is actually my fourth interview with Elise Neal. First time on radio. I love it. Like I say, it's always amazing to be in your presence. I mean it.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
No doubt. With that being said, now back to Brink Radio. Don't move.